above 105 degrees Fahrenheit, we start seeing problems. And then once we get above 110, we really see big problems.
Tonight, millions facing extreme heat across the West, soaring temperatures posing a serious threat, especially in fire zones.
Makes me nervous, makes me sad to see all that stuff burn. It's just kind of crazy. Just every day gets more and more.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. We are seeing record-setting temperatures across some parts of the Southwest today, and that's prompted a warning from doctors about the risk of suffering severe burns in this kind of heat. And across the West tonight, hot, windy conditions also posing a challenge for firefighters as well. One fire started this afternoon in Southern California, and already it's burned about 1,000 acres of brush. So far, there's no containment on what's being called the Canyon Fire. This is burning in steep terrain in both Los Angeles and Ventura counties. Evacuations are underway in some parts of Santa Clarita, and there's concern about the flames reaching power lines in this area. Temperatures here hovered around 100 degrees this afternoon as this fire first got started. And it's a similar situation north of here at the scene of California's largest wildfire that still is burning tonight. Fox's Jonathan Hunt shows us how crews are working to try to slow the spread of the Gifford fire along California's central coast.
Hundreds of homes in central California are threatened by an out-of-control wildfire, currently burning through Los Padres National Forest. The Gifford fire has burned through more than 96,000 acres so far, prompting evacuation orders for hundreds of people. Triple-digit temperatures and low humidity are creating tough conditions for crews.
It just is like deadening heat in there, and so they're constantly having to pay attention to how they're feeling, gauging themselves, staying hydrated, staying fueled.
This is now the largest fire in the state this year. More than 2,000 firefighters, along with air tankers and helicopters, are working to stop the spread. But officials warn that flames are burning in deep and rugged terrain, adding to the difficulties crews are facing.
We've pumped about 900,000 gallons of retardant so far on this fire. So each day we're putting out about 150 to 200,000 gallons of retardant a day.
An air quality alert remains in effect for part of the region because of the smoke and excessive heat. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
National Guard troops will be joining the fight against two wildfires burning in Colorado. Satellite images posted online show the smoke from the Elk and Lee fires. Today, Colorado Governor Jared Polis announced that he is mobilizing every available resource to try to protect lives and property. Those resources include National Guard troops. It was lightning strikes that started these two fires that are about 20 miles apart in northwest Colorado. Together, they have burned nearly 60 acres of brush in the Rio Blanco County area. Vegetation is drier than usual because of this year's slow monsoon season. So far, there's no containment on those fires as red flag conditions continue to challenge crews on the ground. Well, red flag conditions also a big challenge for crews in Utah. The Monroe Canyon fire is the largest fire in that state. It's burned nearly 65,000 acres south of Monroe. Hot and windy conditions are expected throughout this upcoming weekend, and that is worrying people who live near the fire zone.
Makes me nervous, makes me sad to see all that stuff burn. It's just kind of crazy. Just every day gets more and more.
Investigators still are trying to figure out what caused this fire that began back on July 13th. The fire is about 16% contained tonight. Well, it is so hot in some parts of Arizona that doctors are warning people about the dangers of contact burns. Fox 10's Taylor Wirtz continues our team coverage tonight on the extreme heat here in the West. She spoke with a man who suffered third-degree burns after falling onto rocks in his own backyard.
What started out as a routine check of his pool one July day 2 years ago quickly turned into a fight for Robert Woolley's life when he fell on these rocks outside his Phoenix home and couldn't get up.
And I got distracted by birds, and I tripped on a patio slab. I started to go down, and I put a hand down to catch myself, and I was startled by how hot and sharp the rocks were. And reflexively, I picked my hand back up, and then I went all the way down. And the skin had started to peel off like the skin from an onion, and it looked like raw hamburger underneath.
Woolley says he noticed the skin peeling all over his body. in some cases down to the muscle. But through a series of what he calls miracles, he was able to move to the back door and yell for his wife.
There's a voice sounded in my head and it said, if you fall asleep, you're not going to wake back up. And it gave me a surge of adrenaline.
Woolley had third-degree burns on 20% of his body. And whenever temperatures climb, like the 116 degrees the Phoenix area saw Wednesday, Dr. Kevin Foster with the Arizona Burn Center Valleywise Phoenix says he always sees a spike in contact burns like Woolley's.
Above 105 degrees Fahrenheit, we start seeing problems. And then once we get above 110, we really see big problems.
We went around the city Wednesday with a thermometer. A handrail alone measured 130 degrees.
It really is nothing to mess around with.
As for Woolley, while he still has scars, he says the fall gave him a new perspective.
I've got a greater appreciation for life. If my wife had not been home and if she hadn't heard me, I would have died on my back patio.
An incredible story. That was Fox 10's Taylor Wirtz reporting tonight. Now, the city of Phoenix set a new heat record today. This is a live look at the city where temperatures soared today to 118 degrees. That was a record high temperature for the month of August. For more, let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist, Mark Tamayo, who is tracking those soaring temperatures all across the West. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, we're talking about next level heat and dangerous heat, as you have been hearing about over the past couple days. Now, in terms of fire danger, all that heat will increase the fire danger. And this particular forecast model shows the coverage out there. As we put this into motion where you do have some coverage, that's where you have an increase in the fire danger. And you can see once again tomorrow afternoon, especially down toward parts of Southern California into Nevada, parts of Arizona and Utah. We're still talking about that fire danger threat increasing. As Alex mentioned, 118 degrees in Phoenix for today. So yesterday we had a record and another record for today in terms of daily high and looks like the monthly high as well. The average for this time of year, 105 degrees. So that's the extreme heat in Phoenix. Today in Palm Springs, 119 degrees. And we're talking about heat for today. It will continue to build somewhat for some parts of the West Coast into Friday. It's going to stick around to the weekend as well. So that's kind of the deal. Whenever you have heat that lasts for several days, that's when you really run into problems, and that'll be a concern into the coming weekend. As far as the extreme heat, all these areas in red under an extreme heat warning in place, including parts of California, out toward Arizona. That's in place until 8 o'clock tomorrow, but it looks like still a hot forecast into the weekend. Now, if you want a cool pattern, this was the scene today in Seattle, showing you some clouds out there. Temperature is 70 degrees. And then in the San Francisco Bay Area, there's that fog out there. San Francisco warmed up to the lower 70s this afternoon. Current numbers out there right now, it's 114 degrees in Phoenix, 104 in Las Vegas, Reno 85, and Seattle has cooled off to 65 degrees. As we check out the satellite and the radar, there's one little system up here that produced some clouds up in the Pacific Northwest and some scattered showers. In fact, here's a look at the radar just over the past 12 hours or so, and some of that energy is kind of moving on out to the east. Here's the plan for tomorrow. More sunshine up in Seattle, some fog for the Bay Area in the morning hours. A hot forecast for LA, still talking about that extreme heat out toward Phoenix, and it's kind of bubbling, impacting the Denver forecast as well. Some more cities for you up and down the West Coast, out toward Olympia, 81. Concord in the Bay Area, 100 degrees tomorrow. Santa Clarita in Southern California, upper 90s. And Tucson, Arizona, 108 degrees. Here's the forecast over the next 3 days for, as you can see, into the weekend here. Some 70s for Seattle to start things off. The Bay Area, some slight cooling, and that'll be the same story as we head into at least for the Saturday forecast for Los Angeles. Here we go. Temperatures stair-stepping down each and every day, but still up above 100 degrees, but a little bit closer to normal. And then Denver still talking about some 90s for tomorrow, then eventually cooling off big time into the 70s. So Alex, will continue to keep an eye on the heat and, of course, the fire danger over the next several days.
All right, at least we're backing away from that extreme heat in Arizona over the next few days. Okay, Mark, thank you.
Okay.
A hit-and-run crash in Vancouver, Washington sent 10 people to the hospital. Investigators say a man driving a tow truck ran a red light, hitting several cars. This happened late yesterday. Authorities say the man ran from that scene and then went to his home. SWAT teams were called into the home as they believed that the suspect had a gun. Police eventually entered the man's apartment and they found the suspect dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The suspect's name has not been released. Authorities have not given any updates on the conditions of those 10 people injured in the crash. Now, if you or someone you know is struggling, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there to help. It's available 24 hours a day. All you have to do is call or text 988. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a trip to Arizona's southern border calls attention to a new security project. Tonight, how Task Force Safe is proving to be successful. Plus,
I'm excited to see when the walls that I've built failed, because I think that'll be interesting of like, okay, how are they holding up?
a wave of experiments underway here in the West that could be key to saving homes around the world. We'll show you what's being tested at Oregon State University. Today, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs took a trip to the southern border to get updates on a border security project. Last year, she signed an executive order to create Task Force Safe. Task Force members are stationed at ports of entry in Nogales, and they conduct secondary searches to help combat the state's fentanyl crisis and beef up overall border security.
You reported today that to date this year, they've interdicted 16 million fentanyl pills. That's in addition to what we did last year. So we're keeping those drugs off the streets of not just Arizona, but out of the country. And so it's a huge positive outcome.
The governor has requested the Trump administration reimburse the state nearly $760 million for border security costs. The governor says the Department of Homeland Security is working on the reimbursement process. The Trump administration is lifting age restrictions for new ICE recruits with the goal of adding 10,000 new agents. Now, people as young as 18 can apply for those positions. ICE agents formerly had to be at least 21 and no older than 37 or 40, depending on their position. Recruits will still have to go through medical and drug screening and complete a physical fitness test. ICE has already launched another campaign to attract new recruits with incentives including $50,000 signing bonuses. The lifting of those age restrictions comes as actor Dean Cain says that he is joining ICE as an agent. Cain, who lives in Nevada, portrayed the Man of Steel in the 1990s TV show Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. The 59-year-old revealed that he decided to sign up with the agency after sharing a recruitment video on social media. We talked with TMZ about what role he may play in ICE.
Part of me highly doubts that they're going to have him out there in a role that could be dangerous. Also, you know, a 60-year-old running around and trying to chase people and make arrests. I don't know that that's the best role for him. He could probably be used in different ways.
Cain is a well-known conservative who has described the nation's immigration system as broken. A taco shop owner in Las Vegas says a combination of ICE fears and tariffs is putting him out of business. Fox 5's Carla Salinas spoke with him about how his business environment has changed.
Beaches Tacos opened its Container Park location over 12 years ago, part of the vision to revitalize downtown Las Vegas. But owner Javier Anaya says immigration enforcement and economic pressures have now forced them to shut it down.
My employees started telling me, boss, like, we don't see the amount of Latinos that used to come, and it was a big chunk of our clientele. I want to say, honestly, between 25 to 35% of our clientele.
Anaya says when that many regulars stop coming, it's not just the restaurant that suffers. It's a ripple effect that impacts workers, vendors, and immigrant families across the city.
And that was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. You know what, sometimes we had more labor than we had sales in days.
That fear, paired with rising costs from tariffs, pushed the business over the edge. Anaya says key ingredients like meat and avocados have become significantly more expensive.
You know, we're paying right now for our asada, I want to say $3 a pound more. And when you're buying 2,000 pounds a week, that's an extra just $6,000 that you have to spend.
Even with small price increases, Anaya said the numbers just didn't add up anymore.
Never regretted one moment, although we did close it, it's still there. Feel me? Like, I think it's still there. I think it's still in people's minds.
The closure of the downtown location was a tough decision, but Anaya says for immigrant business owners, it's a daily battle to stay open.
It was just such an uphill battle. And, you know, sometimes it's better just to know when to, I wouldn't use the word give up, but when to move on.
Carla Salinas, Fox 5 News, Local, Las Vegas.
President Trump's new tariffs are now in effect. Those range from 10 to 41%, and they affect more than 60 countries around the world. The president says his goal is to bring more manufacturing here to the U.S. and reduce the trade deficit. Critics from both parties say this will cause prices to rise and increase inflation. For some insight on this strategy, we spoke earlier with UC Berkeley professor Vinny Agarwal.
Tariffs are not the only tool of industrial policy. We should be subsidizing and helping workers to some extent.
Now, the Trump administration says the U.S. economy gained about $30 million in tariff revenue last month. That number is expected to increase to about $50 million per month under those new levies. Well, tomorrow in Sacramento, California Governor Gavin Newsom and other state leaders will be hosting a group of Texas Democrats who are at the center of a growing fight over redistricting. California Democrats right now are working on a plan to counter an effort by Texas Republicans to redraw congressional maps ahead of next year's midterms. KTVU's political reporter Greg Lee has the latest tonight on this showdown and more on President Trump's push to change how census data is collected.
President Donald Trump wants to change how the once-a-decade census collects data. In a Truth Social post, Mr. Trump said people who are in our country illegally will not be counted.
It's not only not easy and maybe not even feasible if we want to have an accurate census, but it's probably unconstitutional.
Experts raised immediate concerns at the suggestion, including Terry Ann Lowenthal, a former congressional staffer and census consultant. She points to the Census Act, which requires Congress approve any changes. It's not clear whether the president wants to amend the 2030 count or is calling for a mid-decade census. Either way, Lowenthal said it's a huge undertaking.
This country has never taken a mid-decade census, but even if it did, the law is very clear. It cannot be used to reapportion Congress or to redraw congressional district lines.
Census data is used for many purposes, including redistricting and allocation of federal funds. The Latino Community Foundation released a statement saying any attempt to change the purpose of the census is unconstitutional, undermines our democracy, and threatens political representation, as well as vital resources for education, healthcare, and more.
It's not the thing that we want. It's not the thing you want to see in a democracy. But Texas started this fight, and I think it's good that California is taking it seriously.
The proposed census change comes on the backdrop of a redistricting fight between Texas and California. Despite many Texas Democrats remaining out of state, a state Senate committee approved a new map helping Republicans pick up seats.
Should the FBI get involved?
Well, they may have to. They may have to.
Senator John Cornyn announced Thursday the FBI approved his request for help in finding the Texas House Democrats who left the state in protest of a vote on the new map. Plans to counter are moving forward in Sacramento. Democratic lawmakers recently briefed by the UCLA Voting Rights Project on how lines could be drawn legally to help their party in California.
You could create many more minority opportunity districts, in particular for Asian Americans and Latinos, the two largest minority groups, while still achieving the governor's objective of creating more Democratic seats.
The co-founder of the project, Matt Barretto, believes efforts in both states will face legal challenges. Governor Newsom leading the charge, not backing down from the standoff.
The idea that the President of the United States says he's entitled to 5 seats should sicken everybody. There's nothing normal about that, and anyone who says it's not surprising is normalizing it. That's shocking.
Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a new art piece pays tribute to firefighters and wildfire survivors here in the West. Tonight, one of the artists who worked on the project shares why it's so special. Plus, elaborate experiments underway in the Pacific Northwest. We'll have more on the research that could save homes from future disasters.
Having a better understanding of how the houses will fail, and then being able to design the houses in the future to help protect them and protect families and protect their livelihoods.
In the Pacific Northwest, experiments are underway at Oregon State that may help to save homes from flooding as a result of storms, tsunamis, and even hurricanes. Fox 12's Spencer Schott spoke with researchers about their elaborate setup.
These waves behind me have been pummeling these houses all afternoon, and they were designed to recreate the impact of Hurricane Ian back in 2022. Now, you don't see a whole lot of damage to the houses right now, but inside each house are certain sensors tracking the structural integrity of the house to detect any damage that we can't see with the naked eye. But this experiment was about more than just recreating damage. They're looking at preventing it.
Deck started, waves in 30 seconds.
2 houses were built in OSU's directional wave basin. The orange house is built to the 100-year flood standard, which is the current FEMA standard. And the teal one is built to the 500-year standard.
One of the things that we are testing is the difference between the elevation of those houses.
Pedro Lamonaco is the director of the O.H. Hinsdale Wave Research Laboratory, and he's been leading the charge on this experiment for months. As the waves start to build up strength and size, he wants to see if they can recreate the damage of Hurricane Ian and possibly prevent it.
And in the future, you could change how we build the houses, how we mitigate those effects, what is going to be damaged first, and how the house is going to be destroyed if that happens, is also an understanding how we structurally build those houses.
I want to stick with coastal engineering. I really enjoy it.
Bailey Bolton is an undergrad researcher who helped build these 2 houses.
I'm excited to see when the walls that I've built failed, because I think that'll be interesting of like, okay, how are they holding up?
Bolton grew up in Florida and saw the damage hurricanes can cause firsthand, which is why she wanted to come out to OSU to be a part of this research.
Having a better understanding of like how the houses will fail, and then being able to design the houses in the future to help protect them and protect families and protect their livelihoods.
While these waves are from a hurricane, tsunamis can have a similar devastating effect. So Lamonaco is hopeful this research will have a reaching impact for coastal engineers, no matter the natural disaster they're trying to build around.
That happens in the whole coast of not only the U.S., probably you have heard, we have researchers from all over the world that are interested in what we're doing.
Now, this wave experiment that is going on behind me was the culmination of the National Science Foundation's summer research program, which brought in students from across the country and researchers from across the world. Reporting at OSU, Spencer Schott, Fox 12 Oregon.
Finally, tonight, a new mural in Los Angeles pays tribute to firefighters and victims of January's Palisades and Eaton fires. The image is a replica of a Los Angeles magazine cover. It depicts firefighters dousing the Hollywood sign, helicopters dropping water, and the message, "Our heroes never, never, never give up." One local artist didn't hesitate to take part in the project.
My first thought was that we're LA strong, and that how we can rebuild. The first responders, everyone was so impacted that, you know, it gave me a way to participate, to give back in my own way. So it was just really impactful for me to just have like a mission to be able to create something that can, you know, represent Los Angeles as a whole.
And those who worked on this project wanted to serve as a reminder of how art can carry a community forward during challenging times. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night.